Okay, so as you all know, I like to bulk record. When I'm doing my Combiner Wars reviews, I'll probably get a team done in a day because I like to get ahead and make sure that I've got plenty of stuff because this is my regular upload. The reviews are what I upload regularly. Everything else is as and when it's done. Excuse me. So as a consequence of that, I tend to not pay attention to dates as much. So having paid attention to dates a little bit more, I haven't had time to do this for the Betatron review because that goes up on Christmas Eve. Betatron goes up on Christmas Eve. It should be this review, but I forgot Hound. I forgot to upload Hound on the right day, so everything's back behind a couple days. Betatron went up on Christmas Eve. The first part of the the Combiner Wars Leaders review, Starscream, Thundercracker, Skywarp, and of course Generations Jetfire will be up on Boxing Day. And it's Christmas time, and usually me not paying attention to dates wouldn't be an issue, but I couldn't let this go. I couldn't upload this without throwing in a quick Christmas message, holiday message. I hope you all had a great time. I hope you had a great holiday, great Christmas, great Hanukkah, great whatever it is you celebrate. I hope you all had fucking wonderful times, and yeah, that's basically it. And I hope you all have a great new year. Let's see what 2019 brings. That's just it. I just wanted to, I've got the review done. I just wanted to throw on this little message at the start just to say Happy Christmas, everybody. So yeah, on with the review. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I'm Mike Dezaras Prime with another Combiner Wars review, which has been combined with a Thrilling 30 Generations review. Taking a break from the actual combiners, teams, limbs, all that jazz, we're looking into some leader class figures today from Combiner Wars. The Seeker Trio, Starscream, Thundercracker, Skywarp. But before we do that, we're going to look at where they came from, Generations Jetfire. Now with the Combiner Wars reviews, I've been doing comparisons between the various versions of the molds. Sunstreaker, Wheeljack, Hound and Rook, Prowl, Smokescreen and Streetwise. And there'll be more comparisons there. So it felt only fair and fitting that when it comes to these three, I also throw in the original, that being Generations Jetfire. So I'm going to take these to one side for a second. And we'll talk about the figures. We'll talk about why I got them. Jetfire is an interesting story. Well, it is to me anyway. So we'll put Jetfire in there, front and centre. And move Skywarp over. Okay. So we have Generations Jetfire. Okay, so why did I get this guy? I didn't mean to. It wasn't part of the plan to get Generations Jetfire. The year was 2014. Like I said, Thrilling 30. I was at Auto Assembly 2014. And what originally happened was I bought Lio Convoy, the Beast Wars 2 Lio Convoy, and Beast Wars Neo Big Convoy. There was a defect with Lio Convoy. His leg was broken, couldn't be repaired. Took it back to the stall, and both of the versions of Lio Convoy that they had the same defective leg. So I was unable to get a Lio Convoy. Later on I managed to get the white Lio Convoy with the gold on, and there were some worries about GPS gold plastic syndrome that he's still fine on my shelf. He hasn't fallen apart. Haven't done much with him, probably out of fear. But before I got Lio Convoy, I bought a second big convoy thinking it was Lio Convoy. Let me explain that a bit. Let's just move Jetfire out of the way a bit as well. So, I've hit 3 conventions. 2 auto assemblies and 1 TF Nation. The first one, I was unemployed, so I scrimped and saved what I could, and still came away with what I wanted. The second one, I was in full-time employment. I knew I didn't set myself a limit or anything. I knew what I wanted to get. The convoys weren't part of that. I wasn't expecting to get them. But I believe Energon Unicron was on my list. The other Armed Bastards. I didn't get Energon Unicron from TF but I got him later on off the Bay of E. And so yeah, I went there with more money than plans, basically. More money than wants. I think I did a list of what I wanted, but I got some stuff that I didn't expect to pick up either, like the Transformers Go Nemesis Prime, a few other things. And the Lio and Big Convoy were amongst those things that weren't planned. Now, as to why I bought 2 Lio Convoys. I had that Lio Convoy. I'd opened up the Lio Convoy and it's a Japanese only from a Japanese only show. I had the Universe Leo Prime, but all of a sudden I had an actual Lio Convoy and it was broken and I couldn't find another one anywhere. The only other ones were also defective. And so, and I'm looking around, and in my desperation, I've got the box for reference. I saw this, and I completely disregarded all the fucking mammoth parts on it. I was not paying attention because, in my mind, and I'm sort of justified in this, that said Lio. Look, I mean, that's more of a U or a G, but if you look, L-I-O. To me, that said Lio, and he was like Optimus Prime head and the red body in that, and I'm like, Lio Convoy. And then I go and sit down, and I'm like, oh. Yeah, I've just gone and bought another big convoy, haven't I? But I was that desperate, that obsessed with finding a Lio Convoy, and this was only minutes after, so I hadn't had time to sit down and process or anything. I was just like, I had a Lio Convoy, I'm not fucking leaving this place without a Lio Convoy. And I swear this is on topic. And I was like, hunting, I was obsessed, possessed, and wasn't thinking straight, and it was just like, I saw that, I thought it said Lio. I hadn't paid attention to the big convoy box that much, and then all of a sudden I sit them 2 down and I'm like, those boxes are the same. Fuck me. There's a fucking mammoth on the front as well that I've only just noticed. Anyway, so I'm stuck with 2 big convoys and no Lio Convoy, and I'm having to sheepishly go back to this stall, feeling and probably looking like the biggest tit imaginable. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I bought this thinking it was something else. Not blaming you, not your fault. I know it wasn't your fault, it was completely on me. But I've already got this, I don't need 2. Is there anything you can do about it? And they were like, well, we can't refund you, but we'll let you swap it. And I think what I bought was Cybertron Wingsaber. Well, I didn't buy it, I swapped it for Cybertron Wingsaber and Generations Jetfire. Full circle, the circle is complete. We're back to what we're here to review 8 minutes later. So yeah, and I got that Lio convoy. I got the white and gold one. I do still want. I said in my do you have a grail in my getting to know an old Transformers fan video reviewer? I said I didn't have any grails. An actual proper coloured Lio convoy would probably be that grail for me. Now that you mention it. Anyway, enough about Lio convoy, big convoy, and t'other big convoy. Let's talk about Generations Jetfire for now, shall we? Didn't plan on getting him. Don't regret getting him though. Let's have a look. Now, it's kind of funny with Generations Jetfire how I can kind of see why they turned him into Starscream, because they were mates before the war. But you know, Jetfire was a shuttle, Starscream was a jet. It's one of those like 50-50 things, isn't it? But yeah, Generations Jetfire, he looks amazing. He look fucking. I'll get some of the bad things out of the way first. He's incredibly hollow. You look at the back of his calves, there's nothing there. I mean, the feet have got to go in there, fair enough, but you know, a couple of panels won't go amiss. Same with the few gaps in his arms there that aren't as egregious as some might think. He was with me in my old home where I used to smoke, and he hasn't yellowed, so you know, the plastic may feel thin, it may feel flimsy, it may feel weak. I've actually got two versions of Starscream because I bought one second hand, and on the way home the wing snapped. So yeah, there is a precedent for the flimsy plastic. It doesn't feel that strong in comparison to others. But, and it's light as well, but I don't mind it being light, because sometimes a heavy transformer can be cumbersome. You're trying to fucking transform it and it's weighing you down as well, and so I can appreciate a lighter plastic, a lighter toy sometimes. I like the guns, but I'm not sure about the metallic finish on them, because they look good, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't match the rest of the red. The rest of the red is standard matte, and then you've got all these guns that are all metallic red, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. It's not a game breaker for me, but it's, you know, it's one of those things where a matte red might have worked better. He does, so we're into the positives now, because there is a lot to like about this. I mean, like I've said, he looks great. I'll hold it from the back so you can get a good proper look at it. The white, it stays white. It's held up really well. It's got the nice rounded shoulders, and the chest piece with the canopy there, clear blue plastic canopy, and the legs look nice. It's a nice blend of the blocky aesthetic from the G1 cartoons, but it's also got some of the more rounded, like from seasons 1 and 2, but it's also got some of the rounded and sleeker elements of season 3, because that's when it started to, like Cyclonus, for example, Galvatron, Scourge, they were sleeker, more svelte, if you will, more rounded, and this has a nice blend of that, actually. But it still maintains some of the blockiness in the feet, so I really dig that as well. He has the removable face mask that I'm going to try and remember how to do. There we are. nice removable face mask. Stick to one side a sec. That has a translucent blue visor, so you can see his face through there. Which, and this is it depends if you've got like a really kick-ass lighting setup. You can really make the best use of this because there's a lot of back kibble, but he does have light piping. You can see it there where the front of the helmet is painted and the back is translucent. But yeah, he's got a very nice face sculpt inside. It is really nice. I do like it a lot. He's got that classic Skyfire look about him. And I've always liked the Skyfire character. I liked him because he had a certain naivety to him. He wasn't sure what was going on when he was first awoken after centuries in slumber under the ice. And his when did I mention this? I think it was in the Dezaras review, and I was on about how Skylynx was a poor man's Skyfire, and how he died and he got a fitting tribute and a fitting send-off, and it was all emotional and stuff. And even I, as I think a 22, 23-year-old, was like, oh, don't die, Skyfire, come back. And they brought him back next week, and I was thrilled. Not next week, but next episode, because I was watching the DVDs. So they brought him back 20 minutes later, if that. And I was like, yes, they brought back Skyfire. And then he was woefully underused. And thinking about it, yeah, it's kind of, we won't forget your sacrifice, Skyfire. Alright, let's dig him up. But yeah, I've always liked the Skyfire character. I haven't read many of the Marvel comics from the 80s or anything. I tend to differentiate Jetfire and Skyfire. To me, Revenge of the Fallen Jetfire isn't the same as this guy. I don't see Revenge of the Fallen Jetfire being a variation of this guy. I don't see Revenge of the Fallen Jetfire being a variation of any other version of Jetfire, to be honest. But I think, because I've used Jetfire in Transformers the soap, and see, a lot of the stuff, I talk about the soap a lot, and it's because, you know, a lot of that influences what I purchase, and sometimes what I purchase influences the soap and stuff like that. I used the Revenge of the Fallen Jetfire in Cybertrip, and which was the last proper Transformers the soap episode I did, actually. Years ago, 2013 I think, fucking hell. And yeah, I played him up as Mark Ryan played Jetfire in Revenge of the Fallen. He was old and cantankerous and grumpy and cursed and shit like that. Didn't fart parachutes, but you know, those kind of gags don't really appeal to me, to be honest. And I feel like if I was going to use this, because this is that, like, the series does play a factor into why I purchased the Seeker versions of this as well. If I was going to use this, I wouldn't use it as a younger or an upgrade of Revenge of the Fallen Jetfire. I'd use it as a separate character. I'd have Skyfire and Jetfire as separate characters. So, yeah. That is why I went with, so yeah, I'm kind of losing my train of thought here a bit now. Kind of went off on one. I do that, don't I? I go off on one sometimes. But yeah, I'd probably keep Jetfire and Skyfire separate. So yeah. So there's Generations Jetfire. Let's have a look at some of the detail, because I am talking a lot. Nice rounded shoulders, nice detailing on the arms, the upper arms especially. All the panel lines and all that good stuff, and the sleek, the way the chest curves down into a nice sleek abdomen with the vents underneath. and obviously the cockpit centerpiece. Nice detailing and paint on the waist. And then the thighs, knees and shins, all nice detailing again, except round the back. Points of articulation. He has, his head can go 360. It's sort of on a, it's not a ball joint. It feels like a ball joint, but it's actually on a standard swivel, and then there's another one underneath for him to look up and down. Not so much down, but he's got a good range to look up. Arms come out, the shoulders stay like that, except for they ratchet around. You can do a full 360 with the shoulders. And he has the upper bicep swivel. Ratcheted elbows. Nice clicks there. No wrist movement. His legs go out again on nice ratchets. And they go forward and back. Knees. There's a lot of nice ratcheting in this. They can go back further than you'd expect. Let's take these guns off for a second. So I like him with all the guns on, like fully weaponized, but sometimes they get in the way. And I can't quite remember the configuration for the gun, so I'll probably be improvising that bit. And this big bastard off the back there. Yeah, there we are. So yeah, because of the hollow back legs, his knees can end up just above 90 degrees. Like 2 clicks above 90 degrees. And his feet, some range of motion in the feet, mainly for transformation. But yeah, at least it's there. He doesn't quite look so badass without all the weapons on. And he is a lot lighter without the weapons on. But again, it's one of those things where if these were a flatter red, I'd probably keep them on all the time. And I do keep them on all the time, but I'd be happier with them being a flatter red. He actually has a spring-loaded missile, I believe, but I lost the missile. I don't lose sleep over that because I'm not really a fan of them. I keep telling this story, but I shot someone on a train once with Prime RC. I think it's Beast Hunter RC's thing. I was just like, oh, what does that do? Oh, sorry, mate. Yeah. My son was with me and he was better behaved than I was. Yeah, so that's Jetfire. He is a lovely piece. If you're scared to play with him because he's a little bit fragile or he feels fragile, then he's a lovely display piece as well. It's not like one of those that plays well but looks shit, or looks good but plays shit. He does both, but if you're a bit concerned about his the word escapes me. Durability. He's nice, perfectly fine as a display piece. He looks great. Let's take a look at the other boys, shall we? Starscream, Thundercracker, and Skywarp. Now, they did the right thing with Starscream and the other Seekers by eliminating the metallic colouring for the guns. I'm really glad they did that. These guns actually detach, I think. They can be held. He has his guns there to simulate null rays, but you can take these off. I think you can have either or. But the problem is it affects his arm articulation if you have it like that. So I tend to go with the smaller ones. I mean, they're more, they're less garish, I guess is the correct word. But I'm going to take those off for the time being. I guess you could have the leg ones on his arms. So you could have the bigger ones that come off his legs. But again, I still think that's a bit much. Let's take all this crap off here. Now Starscream, his colouring is a fairly dull grey, to be honest. There's his colour scheme overall, out of the four of them, is the dullest. In terms of there's not a lot of shine, the grey's dull. The red's kind of dull as well. And the blue is quite dull. It's not completely flat, but it's not the glossiest, and it doesn't suffer tremendously for it, but it's definitely, when you compare it to Skywarp and Thundercracker, it kind of feels a little bit flat. He does come with the removable crown, so yay. And there are some moulding differences. Obviously the chest cockpit is different. We'll get to a full comparison in a bit. The one thing, this is actually on Jetfire as well, the outer arms, that was where the fucking annoying hollow points were that I was on about. When I said, oh, that's not as bad as I thought it was. It is if you take those guns off. So yeah, and all three have that issue. Could have done with just like the one hole and then filled the rest in, but he has a nice head sculpt. All three of them have this same sculpt, and that's probably the glossiest part about him. It's like a ice white. I do like that it's, because what they've done with this version is they've made it more blocky on the shoulder. It doesn't have Jetfire's round shoulders, and he's more blocky around the chest area, and the legs are pretty much the same, save for a few paint differences. He's got the painted shins, which I like, which this guy needs the paint, I'm guessing. His entire crotch pieces and waist is painted in. He looks like an Angry Bird, doesn't he? He really does look like an Angry Bird. You could lob him at pigs. Maybe that's how the other one broke. But yeah, a lot of red around there, fully painted. So the detail is kind of missed, but I believe it's the same detail as that which is seen with Skyfire and Jetfire on the waist. Skyfire on the waist, sorry. The legs are the same. No difference in moulding. Save for a bit of different paint. The arms below the shoulders also appear to be the same. Yes, they are. Forearms as well. So the only real difference so far is the shoulders, the chest and the head sculpt. Now I do like the head sculpt. I like how it's more streamlined and not a complete box like G1 Starscream's head is generally. Because these bits here, they tend to just come out like massively. So I like how they've brought that in, they've reeled it in a little bit. So it doesn't, it's more subtle. It's more like the Armada Starscream, I want to say. But yeah, I do like this one. The Seekers were the ones I planned on getting for soap purposes, because I wanted to replace the Starscream, Thundercracker and Skywarp characters, their models anyway, and I have this weird thing about these guys where I I want them in the threes as a trinity. It doesn't feel right for me to only have one or two. AA 2014, I believe, was when I finally got a Revenge of the Fallen Skywarp, because I had the 07 Starscream and Thundercracker, and I finally managed to get a Revenge of the Fallen Skywarp. Now those toys are shit. They're not the best toys of the movie line. They're not too bad, but they haven't aged well at all. And I won't get a Studio Series Starscream if there isn't a Thundercracker and a Skywarp, and Thundercracker took a different mould, so fuck off. It's one of why I won't get a Power of the Prime Starscream, because there's no Thundercracker or Skywarp repaints. It's one of those instances. I'm kind of similar with Sunstreaker and Sideswipe, where, you know, if I'm getting one, I want them both, or all three of them. So this is one of those times when, yeah, I do want the repaints. Thundercracker. Let's have a look at Thundercracker. But yeah, I want to upgrade the character models in the soap, change them over, and I figured I was trying to think of the best ones to go for. Movie Deluxes weren't going to do it for me, especially considering some of them are hard to find, and I just settled with these because I was going to use the Fall of Cybertron ones, but I lost one of Thundercracker's guns. Now, so let's talk about Starscream's bland colour palette. Thundercracker pops, don't he? He fucking pops. His black is nice and shiny, his blue is nice and shiny, and he has silver paint on his chest and waist. And the waist is also broken up, with the black crotch area, so it balances out more. Now, the articulation on these is the same as Jetfire. It is essentially the same mould, save for different shoulder, chest and head sculpt. So we're going to be a lot quicker with the robot modes on these. It's, like I said, it's a comparison. Let's just take those off for now. But yeah, I'm liking Thundercracker and Skywarp a lot more than Starscream because the colours just pop better. They're a lot shinier. They just look less cheap. Starscream looks very dull, and you know, considering he was the most flamboyant of the three, he really has the most muted colour scheme, whereas Thundercracker and Skywarp have the better colour schemes. Blue thighs with black paint, black feet, like I said, the painted waist area, the painted black crotch, even the circle detail there has been painted in. Then you've got the silver here, the Angry Bird beak in orange, cockpit, black forearms, blue shoulders, the wing detail. We'll see more of that in robot mode. Oops. And then we come to Skywarp. Again, a more successful paint job than Starscream, because again, he's got that glossier black, but he's also got a nice glossy purple, and he's also got the silver paint on the chest, and he's got a full silver waist and crotch, but he has almost a gunmetal paint job for the circles. It's darker than the silver. You can't really tell very well, but it's darker than the silver of the waist. And also another thing to note that I forgot to mention before, Skywarp and Thundercracker have silver faces instead of like the glossy white. They definitely did a better job with Skywarp and Thundercracker on the as far as paint goes. And there's Thundercracker's silver face. They definitely did a better job as far as paintwork goes with, yeah, Starscream, Thundercracker and Skywarp. And they even have the, and this is something that Starscream's also lacking, they have a light piping strip down the middle of their heads. But I don't know. I believe the heads are, the eyes are light piped as well. It's too hard to see because they're very small. Starscream doesn't even have the piping. No. As you can see. I just tripped Skywarp up on my dressing gown. Sorry. Please don't kill me. Now I've gammed his fucking leg up somehow. There we are. So yeah, the robot modes, articulation I covered with Jetfire. I do like these figures. Like I say, that they have their issues, but in terms of durability and whether they feel safe, but at the end of the day, I do still like these figures, and I'm not against a light transformer every now and then, because sometimes light heavy isn't always good. Just trying to get one decent shot in of them all in the bot modes before I switch to Jet. Let's move Starscream over there. Skywarp. No, because you're covering his face now. So yeah, those are the 4 in their robot modes. I'm going to transform them to Jet. This is going on a bit. We're nearly at the end now.